You were the first, and I think still the only person to ever do 7 figures in their entire first year. What made you want to get into real estate?
I read the stat that 90% of millionaires are made through real estate.
I've got none other than Clint Cooper making $1 million in his first year to doing almost $800,000 last month alone in his flipping and wholesaling business.
Even in high school, I was a copycat. I really never did homework. I just copied other people's work all the time. And what I've realized in business, that's a good thing. There's so many entrepreneurs that go out and try to create some crazy product that's never been done before.
Yeah.
I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to go copy somebody who's had massive success with someone and do the same thing. I can't think of an industry that more millionaires have had success in than real estate. I had one of my competitors this time last year. He had a way bigger business than me, doing way better than me. He texted me. He's like, "Clint, what's like? What are you doing? Like, what's the secret? Why are y'all just going crazy?" I was like, "It's our are so much better than yours."
What's up, wealth builders? Today, I've got a guy, man, that I'm just so proud of to watch this progress. I mean, in the last 3 years of seeing this guy grow throughout the program, he's just done incredible things. Making $1 million in his first year to doing almost $800,000 last month alone in his flipping and wholesaling business. I've got none other than Clint Cooper. What's up, man?
Thanks for having me, Ryan. It's a pleasure to be back. The studio looks a little different than the last time I was here.
I mean, we're both trying to level up.
That's right. Got to.
You've lost a lot of weight, too.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. My daughter, before I left, I was like, let me go and look at the last podcast. I haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's Daddy? And she didn't even know I was there.
You had different hair.
Different hair, had about 50 more pounds on.
You had a vest on.
Yeah, exactly. Looking like a frat boy.
Yep.
That's what you used to call me, frat boy.
Little frat boy Clint. Well, you know what's funny, dude? I remember this would have probably been, a year and a half ago. We were walking downtown together. Do you remember? We were walking from one of our after parties to, I think, the bar, from one after party to the next after party. And you were telling me, you were like, bro, I just want you to know, you've motivated me to get in shape, not just build my business, but to get in shape and do all these other things seriously. And this was way before the wealthy way and everything, where it's I'm now telling everyone hey, get in shape. Your health is important. But I just remember you really taking it on yourself because you were making great money, but you still weren't happy with everything.
Yeah. You said something on the stage that weekend that just hit home for me so much, just because I'm such a competitor. You were like, people that aren't in shape, they just can't compete with me.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
And I took it as a personal shot. All right, we're about to get after it.
Yeah, you told me, you're like, I'm getting in shape.
Yeah. And I lost about 50 pounds in a year, and I've pretty much maintained since then, but I'm going to do another, I want a 6-pack. I want to be completely in shape, very, very low body fat. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm extremely happy with being able to actually maintain for the first time in my life, because I've always been up and down with my weight. Yeah. But I've been consistent, going to the gym 5 days a week, consistent with my diet for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's been a game changer for me. I have more energy for my work, and more energy for my family.
Yep.
It's been a game changer.
No, 1,000%.
When I went on that diet, I've always been very extreme with it. And then when I would stop, it would be open the floodgates to all the bad food, no working out and everything like that.
Yeah.
But it's just the consistency. It's just like anything. Business too, have to be consistent.
Yep. No, 1,000%. Well, it's awesome, man, to just see, how much everything's improving for you. Like I said, not just in business, but health and life and everything else. So for those who didn't see the first episode, it was quite a while ago. Tell people how, you even got to this point.
Yeah. So in December of 2020, so right before the market really took off, I joined Future Flipper at the time, now Wealthy Investor, and had never done a deal. Yeah. And we filmed a podcast about 4 months in, and I think I'd closed one deal. I closed the week before we filmed the podcast. I made $61,000 on the deal.
I remember that.
So pumped. Thought I knew everything about real estate investing. And I remember talking at the time, I have 6 flips total under contract at the time. And, now last month, we're 2.5 years, a little over 2.5 years later, I've closed 24 wholesale deals last month at over $830,000 profit.
Absolutely crazy.
Got a team built out, got leadership in place, I've just really enjoyed the process of building the team, building a purpose around our company. And, I really think, I don't know like this for a fact, but I think we're probably doing the most volume in all of Atlanta right now in terms of deals, which is something, Eddie Wilson, who, used to work with Gary Harper, I told him when he came in my office, which was about a year and a half ago, he came for a strategy session.
Yeah.
I told him, I want to be the number one wholesaler in Georgia. That's what I want to do. And I think we're there already a year and a half later.
Yeah, dude, incredible. I'll tell you, I was actually looking through our old DMs on Instagram because I was like, man, dude, it's crazy. Because you sent me the text with the screenshot, and I was like, man, when did Clint when did we start working together? And I started to look through the old DMs, and I remember you DM'd me in maybe it was June of 2020 or July, and you were like, hey, I'm thinking about selling my business and going into real estate. What do you think? And I was like, dude, I think real estate's amazing. You should totally do it. And then you were like, okay, cool. And then the next day you're like, all right, I just signed up. And I was like, all right, tight. And you were basically like, I'm still not ready to take action yet. And it wasn't like the excuse I hear from most people where they're like, oh, I don't know. You were like, hey, I actually contractually have to finish out these next 2 months in my business. But you were like, but I would love to join now, watch the calls and everything. And then once the business sale finalizes, then I'm going to go all in. And, I remember you just doing that. And then it was towards the end of the year, like you said, and I think you finalized your sale maybe November or December. And you're like, all right, dude, my business sold. You text me and you're like, what name should I go with? And we were trying to think of names for your business and stuff. Isn't it crazy to think how far you've come since then?
Yeah, man, I was a little infant baby back then. You were too.
Yeah.
I think one of my best strengths is being able to identify talent, and I like to think that I identified Ryan before the hair. Before I started going crazy. Yeah, and man, it's just been a long journey. Tons of battle scars along the way.
Yeah.
I had some major losses on flips last year.
Yep.
And I've just continued to learn, continue to get better, and not only as a businessman, but as a family man. You're someone who's been a constant role model. Even though I haven't been around, I haven't really came to any of the conferences in the past year because when the market shifted last year, I was like,
you hunkered down.
I got to put my head down, go to work.
Yeah.
And I'm looking up here a year later, and man, what a business I've built in such a short time, along with my team. I definitely couldn't do it without them or my partners.
Yeah.
And it's just been a great journey. I've learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about what my purpose is and what my vision for my life is during that time. So
what is it?
Well, for my company, people in my company, I want everybody in my company to have a better life than they did before they came in. So whether that's financially or just being happy,
yep.
Our purpose as a company is to help people move forward. And that includes our employees, that includes our sellers, our buyers, everybody in our sphere. But I really just want to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
I want to change the lives of a lot of people along the way. And I feel like I've started to see that,
Yeah.
Tyler, my COO, who came in from corporate America, he got a $50,000 check last month. And that,
wow.
man, it just that type of stuff just keeps me fueled up. I love to see it. So,
with Tyler, it's funny because I remember early on too, you were like, hey, I want to hire this guy, but I'm not we're not there yet deal flow wise or revenue wise, but this guy, he's making good money over here. So do you think I should hire him? And I was like, well, you can look at it two ways. If you were just a guy who didn't have any money and whatever, probably not. That's a risky thing. But if you're willing to put the spend behind him, because you're gonna have to pay a fat salary to this guy anyways, you got to be able to go support the marketing and everything else to justify what you're about to do. And to see that decision play out the way it's played out has been really cool. But it took guts on your part to go make that decision, because you hired a 6-figure guy very early on without a ton of proof of concept.
Yeah, I was only 6 months in before I did that, and man, what a blessing that was, bringing him in, because it's funny, everybody in my company says it. I am great at driving revenue, but I'm also great at creating a mess. And Tyler was there to clean up the mess and, really systemize the business, because that is not my strong suit.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. So I guess now that we have the gift of hindsight, it's both a gift and like well, I could have did this and I could have did that. You know, back in your first podcast, you know, like you said, you're a few deals in and, you know, you just closed a big one. But what ended up happening that first year was you were the first and I think still the only person to ever do 7 figures in their entire first year. Like, I mean, how many people have made over $1 million their first year in real estate? Like, I don't know. You're still the only one that I know of. To go from that and just being like, basically like rookie, we're sports guys.
Yep.
So you're like rookie of the year, freaking hot shot. And then, like you said, the next year to get punched in the face from a tough economy. Nothing of your fault. It's just like we all got punched in the face. I've talked about it a lot of just losing money and it sucks. And we still have bad flips from last year that we're selling off, and it is what it is. Entrepreneurs, if you want to grow your business, there is no better investment than your own personal brand. The smartest thing I ever did was start creating content and investing into my brand. Ever since then, we've been able to triple our business. I've been able to raise more money than ever to continue buying more real estate. And it's all because I create content just like this. Now, a lot of people have asked me, Ryan, how am I supposed to do it? I don't know where to start. I don't know who's going to edit it. I don't know even what kind of setup or camera or anything to do. Well, here's the thing. We can help you with all of that at Pineda Media. We have a podcast checklist that you can actually get for free at pinedamedia.com that's going to go over everything you need on starting a podcast. But to make matters even better, we'll actually edit your podcast for you. We'll repurpose it into short form clips like you see on my Instagram and my TikTok so that people will start seeing those clips and watching your podcast and in turn being customers or investors in your business. So if you want the one-stop solution where you can get everything done for you, plus get the education you need to grow your personal brand, then you need to go to pinedamedia.com and book a free call with our team. You can also go get that free podcast checklist and that training program absolutely free by just going there. So go check it out. What was it like going from that to that?
Well, first of all, a lot of it was my fault. The market did shift, but a lot of it was my fault.
Okay.
I went way out of my expertise, tried to do the luxury game of flips when
Me too.
I really had not dialed in, you know, even just entry level flips. You know, I had a system, like I think you were very much dialed in on the entry level flips. You would agree, right?
Yep.
I was not dialed in with it at all.
Got it.
And I decided, well, let's buy 3 houses from $1.5 million to $2 million in the Atlanta area. Well, this is going to be the same thing, you know, no big deal. They're just there's just bigger numbers, bigger spreads too, right? And, you know, I had on paper, I'm going to make over $300,000 in all these 3. Ended up losing.
I blame the Boakley brothers for getting us all into it because they were crushing it with all those. I'm like, all right, screw it, we're doing it. And, you know, I did have a couple of big ones, but yeah, a lot of those are my losses.
Yeah. So I lost on 3 houses. I lost about $600,000, but we did about, you know, $2.5 million in revenue last year,
even with the losses.
So, you know, take it on the chin. And, you know, one closing, I was talking to Zasha outside.
Yeah.
She was the lender. She was like my second position on the deal.
Okay.
I raised the money from her. It was like $225,000.
I love hearing that too, by the way, when like students do deals together, lend to each other. It's awesome.
Yep. Well, she charged 20% interest, so she got a pretty good deal on it.
She was happy to do the deal. Hey,
Yeah.
whatever deal you make, you make.
That's right. Well, I saw $300,000 on the spreadsheet, even with the 20% factor.
You're like,
in.
whatever.
Didn't go well, but no. So yeah, she was the lender on that deal. It was a condo in Buckhead, and I had to come to closing to sell that property with $220,000.
Yeah.
But you know, I kind of look at that as like a selling point when I talk to my private lenders.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I took a $220,000 loss, still paid off my private lender and the interest I owed her in full.
Yep.
And so I think it's kind of a selling point. But it was just, you know, I had horrible contractors. I had contractors for entry level stuff. They were not set up to do work on these $1 million plus houses.
Yeah.
And I horribly mismanagement. I was kind of involved with the project management, which was a horrible idea as well. And they just went over budget.
Why were you
timeline.
still doing project management at that time?
Well, I wasn't,
Okay.
but I wasn't holding my project manager.
Got it.
I kind of let him go. Wasn't held accountable. Wasn't, you know, I didn't manage him effectively. And I'm all, you know, that's one of my weak spots too, is, you know, just mid-level management. And I've identified that. I've gotten better at it because I'm still.
But you shouldn't even be mid-level management. You hired Tyler.
I hired Tyler, but at the same time, we've been focused on slowly building what we're building. And, I'm still in director of dispositions of our organization.
Yeah.
My other business partner who I brought on, Ren, he's in director of acquisitions role.
Got it.
So Tyler's technically my boss still because he's the COO, but I'm also the CEO of the company. And we've just been really careful with how we are going about placing mid-level management, how we're going to affect the margins with that, because we want to build this business to create 50% margins no matter what.
Yeah.
And we're just being very careful with our fixed expenses, because when you add mid-level management, yes, it's going to be, beneficial because I can go work on other things to drive revenue, but it's also going to take a hit in the meantime to replace that revenue.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, going in back to the 2021, going into 2022, what was it like going through that? Because I've been through it, and I know you're not expecting your business to lose money. Like, we don't go into deals thinking, oh yeah, we're going to lose money on this deal, right? It's always unexpected. And so for me, anytime I've ever had like a crunch like that, I'm like, dude, where the heck am I going to get this cash from? Because I'm not. You just don't expect it. And so you're allocating your cash elsewhere into new deals, into, in my case, different businesses and whatever. So what was it like going through that?
It was stressful, right? But whenever I get in those type of situations, I just think, what's the worst case scenario here, right? I'm coming to closing with $220,000, but we have, $800,000 in the business bank account.
Yeah.
Yes, this sucks. Yes, I want to learn from this, but what's the worst case scenario? I got $800,000 in the bank still. We're fine operating. I don't have to lay off people. I don't have to do anything. So it was stressful, right? Like, I'm not going to lie. I was in a very much put my head down, put the blinders on, figure this stuff out. And that's when we really shifted to wholesale, when the market shifted last year. We had already been preparing for it before. I was like, I like wholesale much better. Mm-hmm. The cash conversion cycle was so much quicker. We were learning how to list our wholesale deals on the MLS.
Yep.
And I was like, let's do this. This is way better than flipping, way less complicated. We don't have to set up utilities. We don't have to go raise the money. Yes, we can probably make a little bit bigger rip on the wholesale, but at the same time, if we're listing them on the MLS, there's not many times where I can not sell it on the MLS, and if I flipped it, make double. Like, there's very few times it's going to end up being double if I flip it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I looked at. And we're very selective on our flips right now. We're 95% wholesale. But if we see one that we can make six figures on, that, hey, we're going to make 60, 70 grand as a wholesale, we can make six figures flipping, we'll do it. Because I've still got project management in place. Still got the contractor crews. So we're still flipping a little bit, but I just like the wholesale model and the cash conversion cycle so much easier.
Yeah. I'd say for us, I went into the interest rates doubling with like 50 flips. So,
took some L's.
You can take, by the law of big numbers, you're going to take L's.
Yep.
But, like for me, I've always learned the most from failure, right?
Sure.
And I don't even consider things like that failure. It's just like, stuff like that's going to happen in business. There's going to be things that were completely in your control, like you mentioned, and there's plenty of things I could have did better. Then there's things that are completely out of your control, like the market, doubling rates. And so you just kind of have to deal with both, right? And I'll tell you, up to this point, let me backtrack. In 2018, that was the first year I ever did over 100 deals, and I was like 99% flip. And then the market shifted, nowhere near to the degree that it shifted this time around, but they raised rates, and then everything got really slow, and it was in the winter. I was like, wow, my hard money payments are like 6 figures a month, and I have no money coming in. And I might have to actually come to the closing table and stroke some checks. And I remember it wasn't a $200,000 check, but it was a $20,000 check here, a $20,000 check here, right? And that made me realize, I was like, dude, I need cash to come in like right now. And so that forced me to start wholesaling that year. Wholesaling was never part of my business. I was like, let's maximize every dollar. I had built out construction and all the stuff that we needed to flip at high volume. But I was like, we got to have some diversity in how we make money.
Sure.
And so anyways, that was a huge learning lesson. 2019, we have a nice balanced approach, and, 2019 was a lot about like what I'm going through this year. I was still recovering from a lot of the problems in 2018, But, wholesaling and flipping definitely let us through. We still made over 7 figures, but, I had to take a lot of L's in 2019 from 2018. Then 2020 hits and we have COVID. And this time I have like 40, 50 flips. And I'm like, dude, is this really like going to happen again? Like, what's about to go down? At the time, I was still confident that things were going to be good, but, nobody could have predicted it would go on the rip that it went, right? But as things started to open up, I was like, you know what? Everyone's still super scared, but I'm going to start buying all of these. So I just went on a tear and bought everything. I just made a huge bet. And obviously it ended up paying off. And 2020, 2021, I was like, I'm not wholesaling anything because, we had so much appreciation. I was like, dude, we're going to make way more if we just flip them. And, 2022 hits and, things slow down. I'm like, crap, dude, we got to really go back to wholesaling again and like getting cash coming in. So it's weird that like, for me anyways, it's just kind of like ebbed and flowed on like what I was choosing to do.
Yeah. And I think a big part of like one of the lessons I learned from flipping those luxury houses is like, you won't lose as bad if you're flipping at your ARV of the median house price, right? Like the losses are most of the time you're going to like, if a major market shift happens, you're probably going to break even at worst as long as you underwrite the deal correctly. So that was a big shift for us. Is like when we're flipping now, we're going to flip entry level homes, right? Because that market shift is going to be a lot less significant than a $1.6 million home in Buckhead.
Yeah.
So
100%. So yeah, I think for us, 2022, things were going great first half, and then things shift second half, and, we start going wholesale heavy again. We stop buying just like everyone else. And, that was the weird thing where it was like, well, nobody wants to buy, and we don't want to buy. Like, how are we going to wholesale? And so that was where, we all started pivoting to novations and, all that. And like novations, I think, are what made or broke other businesses. So for those who don't know what it is, you want to talk about it? Because we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah. So novations is a buzzy word because people kind of use it incorrectly most of the time. We use a novation agreement when there's institutional financing, when they won't let us double close. So for instance, like you get an FHA buyer on a deal. We're able to sell our wholesale deal to an FHA buyer, but we have to exercise our novation clause in the agreement.
Yeah.
And we have to put that in place. But a lot of people think that novations are just when you list your wholesale deals on the market. Well, that's not a novation. That's just you have the right to list your property on the MLS. It's an equitable interest listing is what it is. And so we actually sell to cash buyers all the time where we never have to novate the deal, but we're listing the property on the MLS and we're just going to do a double close at that point.
Yep.
And the MLS is the best cash buyers list, hands down.
Yeah.
I don't care what 10,000 person email list you have of cash buyers.
Yeah.
If I put it on the MLS, somebody's going to buy it at 85 cents on the dollar versus your cash buyers list, they're paying 70 cents on the dollar.
Right.
Especially right now during these times. So, but a novation just basically gives you the right to wholesale your deal that's direct to seller to an end buyer who's actually going to live in the house that has institutional
and they're going to pay 100%.
Yeah. So in about, FHA, VA, USDA, you're going to have to novate those every single time. When you get conventional loans, that's when it gets a little hairy. Some allow it, some don't. We're always going to try to double close because our fees are going to be disclosed on the HUD.
Yeah.
But there's some conventional lenders that if you don't hold title, you can't be on this agreement.
Yeah.
So that at that point, we'll have to novate the agreement.
Yeah. So for those listening, and you're like, I don't even realize like what he just said. There's a lot that's going on there.
Sure.
Basically, the 1 minute version is if we get a property under contract, we have options, right? We can wholesale it to somebody else and assign it. We can take it down ourselves, renovate it, fix and flip it. This other option is, in both of our opinions, like the best option right now. It's what my company tries to do. It's what his company's doing. Because, number one, you don't have to actually buy it, right? So you don't have to get the hard money. You don't have to take the risk that comes with buying a property. Your contract gives you the right to go list it on the MLS. I mean, in the contracts we give our students, it says they're in the fine print, the buyer has the right to list this property on the MLS. And, we're transparent with the sellers too. We're like, hey, we're going to put it on the MLS. Like, you still don't have to do anything. right? If there's any fixes or any of that stuff, we're going to negotiate. We're going to do everything. But, just so you're aware, this is going to happen. And they're cool with it. As long as they get what they want, they ain't worried about it. So, we listed on the MLS, and then from there, whether we get a cash buyer or whether we get a conventional buyer or an FHA buyer, we're just going to sell this thing. And, basically at the close, the end buyer is like, they don't know any different. They're paying whatever they're paying. The seller, aka the person who we first went into contract with, that's all that's going to change, is like how the mechanics happen. And what you're saying is the title company will take care of whatever we need to do, whether we got a double close, whether there's going to be a fee paid, whether you're going to, remove your interest in the property. There's lots of ways to do it, depending on state too.
Yeah. And one of the huge benefits to that is if you're only wholesaling, you're missing out on so much revenue.
Yeah.
Because, again, the cash buyers are going to pay more on the MLS, but also you're able to capture retail leads that you would never even consider to make money on. No flipper has a path to make money. No normal wholesaler has a path to make money, but we can make money on it because we're going to sell it to an end user.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I get a $300K house that's perfectly retail ready, or maybe it needs a few things, right? And I put that on the MLS to sell it for $330,000, even after paying some realtor fees and some closing costs, we're still going to make 20 grand on that deal. And there's no other investor that has a path to make money on that deal.
No, because a flipper would lose money even if they bought it at what you had it under contract for.
Correct.
So obviously a wholesaler can't sell it.
Yeah.
So the question becomes, people are thinking like, well, why would a seller want to do this? Like, if it's going to get listed, why not list it? So What do you see?
So, why don't you list it with a realtor? Well, most realtors can go and take an 18-hour class and they can get their real estate license. They aren't qualified salespeople. Another reason is they're going to put a lockbox on your door. Any realtor is going to have access to that property. So your neighbor Joe, he can go snooping through your property if he has a realtor that wants to get him in the house, right? So we're going to actually vet every single buyer who walks through the door. We're going to get the pre-qualification letter or proof of funds, and we're only going to send the most qualified buyers. If a realtor tells me that they have a buyer that wants to come by and they're going to see 10 other houses that day, they're not going to come to your house, Mr. Seller. We're going to make sure that they are seriously interested in your house. They're not just going window shopping.
Yep.
And another thing is you're not paying any fees. These people that are selling with a realtor, they're going to have to pay 10% probably on their sale with realtor fees, closing costs. They may have to do repairs. We're going to make sure to handle all of that for you so you don't have to do any of that.
Mm-hmm. There you go. That's the pitch, guys. I couldn't have said it any better. Yep. So a lot of people, basically what it comes down to is it's a net listing. At the end of the day, it's a net listing. Yep. And for those who don't know what a net listing is, it's basically saying, hey, Mr. Seller, I'm guaranteeing you this amount of money, $300,000. Anything above $300,000, I get. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, net listings are illegal. You can't do that. It's not true. In most places, net listings are allowed. Now, if your brokerage may not allow it, that's a different story. But, legally, they can still happen. I mean, they happen here in Vegas. And, we've taught many students, and they're first told by their brokerage because they're a realtor they can't do it. And I'm like, well, if you want to list your own properties, then just go to a different brokerage because you can do it.
Yep. You need three things, right? You need the right to list on the MLS and your RPA. You need the authorization, which is basically a limited power of attorney, authorization to accept offers on their behalf. And then you need the novation agreement. Yeah. You have those three things, you can do this. It's really not hard. Some people will use a realtor that they know to list their wholesale deals. I personally prefer to have it in-house and use a flat fee broker and route it to my disposition reps.
Yeah.
I want my salespeople that I train every single day to handle those calls, to negotiate those deals, to get the terms we need. Yeah. I don't want some realtor that may be qualified, may not, being able to handle my transaction. So I recommend using a flat fee broker and routing it to people that I'm training on a daily basis that know our process and know the terms we need to be able to close the deal.
No, I love that. Wealth Builders, if you are trying to grow your real estate investing business, then you need to join us at Wealthy Investor. If you have no idea what Wealthy Investor is, it is our coaching program and community. We have helped thousands of students worldwide grow their business. Now, it doesn't matter if you're just getting started and you're trying to get that first deal. We can help you do that. If you're trying to scale your business and go from a few deals a year to a few deals a month, or even 7 figures a year, we can help you do that too. In fact, last year alone, we had over 30 students do over $1 million in revenue. And I'd love for you to be the next one. So it's pretty simple. If you're trying to grow your business and wholesale more homes or flip more homes or buy more rental properties, then you need to go to wealthyinvestor.com and book a free call with our team. It's super simple. We'll go on a strategy call with you and figure out how we can help you grow according to your needs. So all you got to do is go to wealthyinvestor.com, book the free call with the team, and we'll see you there. Let's fast forward a bit. Obviously, going into your third year, you guys are like hitting your stride better than before. You've learned a lot from coaching, from mistakes, from wins. How big is the team now?
So we have about 18 U.S. employees and about 20 people in the Philippines and Belize.
Okay. And so what are the VAs doing? Are they just cold calling? What are they doing?
Cold calling, texting, some admin work, and we have a lead management team as well.
Okay. And then the U.S. team, what are they doing?
Acquisitions, dispositions, title, recruiting, marketing.
So let's break it down a little bit.
Yep.
How many are in sales, would you guess?
We have 7 acquisition reps and 5 disposition reps.
Okay.
So 12 total that are our
Okay.
killer sales reps.
So you're in the dispo side. So you manage those 5 guys.
Yep.
What's their job day to day? What do they do? I mean, if we're just listing them on the MLS, what do we need them for?
To be able to negotiate the terms we need, to be able to market. And we still sell some deals off market every now and then, especially in difficult situations where access is difficult.
Yeah.
We'll still sell them off market. They need to have the resources and the know-how to do so. But they are professional problem solvers.
Okay.
Getting these problem deals to the finish line that other people just can't do. They're able to overcome, hey, we're going to tell this agent that we're wholesaling this deal and be able to keep it smooth and keep everybody on pay. Because agents, right? They love to screw up deals.
Yeah.
Agents are the number one people that love to screw up deals. And we have to be able to navigate that conversation with confidence and be able to instill confidence in the agent that everything's good here. This is a normal transaction. This is going to be the easiest transaction you've ever had.
So are they also the listing agent?
No.
Okay.
We use a flat fee broker that basically they route, and we've had to grow with this vendor over time, this particular broker, and they route the calls based off the property to the correct dispo agent. Right. So any calls that an agent makes on a property, it's going to go directly to one of my dispo reps, depending on what property it's assigned to.
So the dispo rep, they maintain relationship with the seller too, just
Correct.
to keep them.
Correct. Basically, once the acquisition person signs the deal up, they're pretty much, for the most part, done with the deal. Now, if we need to get a renegotiation or, just something comes, maybe they're in better rapport, they need to call the seller about something. But typically, once the agent gets the contract signed, they're going to hand it over to the dispo rep. Dispo rep is going to take care of the seller to that point. Yeah. And then once the dispo rep sells the deal, it's going to turn over to title at that point.
Okay. So dispo's handling a lot of just basically kind of agent type stuff, really. Sure. Transaction coordinator / agent hybrid.
Yep.
How much time do they spend prospecting to find buyers?
Not a ton. We have a huge, because
I know Jamil, my friend who's been on the show, his dispo guys are all about just networking, finding realtors, finding buyers. Actually, I would say half are, actually, I don't know the full scope of it, but some are definitely going after deal flow. The others are going after buyers.
Yeah. So they can spend a time doing that, but at the end of the day, the person who calls on that listing is going to be the person most likely to buy it, right? Yeah. They're actually calling. It's the difference in an outbound lead with an inbound lead. What's going to be hotter? Somebody who's calling you, who wants it, Yep. And so, they do spend time prospecting. They do, mass text and mass call their investor lists on certain properties that it makes sense. But majority of the time, they are just problem solving these deals, and pricing, the pricing strategy is huge. With selling the deals, we do a ton of renegotiation, right? If we lock up a deal bad, we still,
who's in charge of that? The acquisition.
We send it back on the acquisition. It was different, I was doing them all for a while.
When you have to, you have to.
Sure, especially when the market shifted. I was very much doing them all, and we, I remember in December, I think we closed 18 deals. I think I renegotiated 14 of them, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, just to get the deal done.
Yeah.
It was tough to sell a deal, right? Like we just had, our job was to get offers. You know,
Yeah.
as a dispo rep, your job is to bring offers to the table. If we have 3 offers, we've probably got a pretty solid price of what it's going to sell for. Send it back to the acquisition agent, go get the renegotiation done.
Right. Got it. So on the marketing side, I mean, you said 12, you got 12 reps on the acquisition side. So tell me about the marketing.
So the marketing, we are doing cold calling, texting, direct mail is our biggest by far.
Oh, really?
And then we're doing pay-per lead.
Okay.
So we filmed all the commercials. We're going to do the TV at some point. We're going to slowly start to bring it in. But it is, especially in the Atlanta market, you have to come with a big budget or you're not going to see results because there's so many big players. You know, all the iBuyers in Atlanta. You got Mark Spain, you got Open Door, you got OfferPad, just so many iBuyers that we're competing with for that space. So it's a really high cost of entry. So we haven't done it yet, but we've already got them filmed, already got it kind of planned, and we're going to start to phase that in. TV is the next thing. So
Cool.
Yep.
So how much are you spending right now?
So last month we spent 85 grand,
Okay.
and that produced $835,000 in profit. 10x return. Sounds pretty
Crazy.
good, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. And it would be easy to go out and, hey, let's go spend 200K.
Yeah.
Like, we could do that, right? And we've made that mistake in the past, and what we realized
I've made the mistake many times.
and what you realize is you're not going to be, it's going to be sloppy because you're just doubling your budget. But really, you have to have the people in place to be able to handle that budget. And also, from an acquisition standpoint, you don't want to just overload them with leads, right?
Yeah.
Like you kind of want to keep them at about 70% where they, they're getting some good inbound leads, but they're also digging deep through the pipeline to find stuff that's there. Because if you start throwing leads like crazy at them, what they're going to do is they're going to forget about the stuff that's further down on their pipeline.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we're just being careful about that. Like our monthly budget this month will go up to 100K.
You're
But
slowly scaling.
But and we're just being very careful about our process of moving up. But we want to eventually get to where we're spending $300-400K a month on marketing and doing $2 million plus a month in revenue.
Do you think that would be all in Atlanta, or would you have to go outside?
We are going to be in Atlanta until we get to 200 deals a month in Atlanta.
200 deals a month.
200 deals a month is the target.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you got 10x to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And we're going to get there. Like it's the MSA of our of Atlanta. We're marketing anywhere an hour and a half outside of Atlanta. It is big enough easily to do 200 deals a month. My business partner who I brought on a while back, he was in 9 separate markets, smaller markets.
Yeah.
And the MSA of those 9 markets, and they were doing 100 to 125 a month,
Okay.
was smaller than Atlanta by itself. The
Wow.
MSA we're in.
Of all of them
Yes.
combined.
Yep. So we know for sure 100 plus before we ever look at another market, but we believe we can easily do 200 deals a month in Atlanta.
So speaking of, let's just say, you got the 100K budget. How's that being allocated?
Obviously your inbound leads are going to be more expensive, right? The texting and cold calling isn't too expensive. I say we're probably spending 25K on the texting cold calling, and then the other, 75K is going to be on direct mail and paper lead.
Okay. Now, when you say pay per lead, what are you talking about? Because
there's need to sell my house fast, like other companies that are marketing for you and have the domains in place. We're just buying leads and bidding on their leads, right?
Got it.
Because PPC, another thing in Atlanta is the PPC budgets. It's a huge high cost of entry to be able to get into that. And again, you've got the big players in Atlanta like Open Door, Mark Spain, Zillow that we're competing with for that. The PPC budget. You can't come in just spending $3 or $4K a month and expect to get results. You're going to get nothing. You're going to hear crickets, right? So we eventually want to shift to completely all inbound marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it simplifies our business, right? We don't need the overseas team. We don't need, not as much. Like we're still going to have lead management in place from them, but it's just a simpler business. I was talking to a guy out of LA. He's with Sellers Advantage. He's with Doug Hopkins, and his name's Damon.
Yep.
And I was talking to him, and he told me last month he did 1.75 million. He has 3 acquisition agents, 1 dispo agent that has 2 assistants under him, 1 marketing guy. And they did 1.75 million, and they netted 700K on that.
Yep. They have 1 marketing channel, TV.
Pretty much, yeah. They're doing a little bit of radio and billboards now, but that's it.
Yep.
And that is just so simple. Like
so easy.
One of the great things about the business partner I brought on, Bryn Bartlett, he he had a 200 plus employee company doing 100 to 125 deals a month. And the thing he learned from that was, I don't want to ever do that again. I don't want to ever do that again. I want to be as profitable and as simple as possible, right? Let's do 200 deals a month with 30 people, not 200.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. I've gone down all these different paths, and, we've had big months, we've had bad months. I've doubled the budget out of thin air from one month to another, and, have made all the mistakes you can make. And, like for those who don't know, Doug, who we mentioned earlier, is an owner in Seller's Advantage. And so they're the same people that run my TV commercials. So we've been, good friends for 4 years now. And it's been I literally have not changed my TV commercial in 4 years. I might change it now. I should do it with orange hair.
There you go.
Just see what they do.
I'd be curious if that worked or not, specifically to older people.
You just got to split test it.
We'll split test it and try.
Yeah, we'll split test it.
Kill it.
I just don't know how I'll go back to black because I don't want to dye it again. Maybe I'll get like black paint or something just for, I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I agree with you, man. For years, when we first got started, cold calling and texting was like how we did everything because we didn't have a budget and it was great. And then, we got on TV commercials and that, we just saw it was so much easier. And so, we focused on that. And, I just kind of also look at things and I'm like, well, the regulations keep tightening up over texting and cold calling. And it's like the returns keep going down. And I'm like, how much time do I want to hear or like spend really trying to dial this in?
Sure. Yeah. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to have the plan, for when that does go away. And that is our overall plan, is to slowly bring in that inbound marketing and eventually phase out the outbound.
Just direct mail, pay per lead, TV.
Because you like our ultimate goal, like our kind of the North Star of where we want to get, other than the revenue goals and everything like that, is a 10-to-1 lead to realizing cash. So for every 10 leads, we have a closed deal.
Got it.
And that just simplifies the operation. We don't need as many people. We don't need,
but you need higher quality leads.
Exactly.
Because that won't happen on cold call.
Exactly. Like I talked to, Damon, he said is at 8.75 to realize, like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Ours right now, probably
50.
Probably like 85 or so to realize cash.
Yeah.
So, and we're tightening up, our parameters. Like before we were letting in, little text leads that like, yes, I'm open to sell. Now we've tightened it up where, hey, a lead manager's got to get them on the phone before it's pushed to an opportunity. So we're really just trying to tighten up what our acquisition managers are touching so they're focused on the hottest opportunities.
Yeah. And also too, I did learn this from Doug and Damon as well, that, just only wholesaling also simplifies life in the business, right? You're not worrying about flips and renovations, and there's no risk really involved with it.
Yep.
So yeah, and I've always said that my vision for my companies was that I wanted to transition more so into wholesale, and we are there now. Like, we still have flips, but this is the lowest amount of flips I've had in the last 6 years. And it doesn't mean I think the market's weak or anything else. It's just like wholesaling is a more scalable model. 2, it's less risky. And so when I look at like my risk profile of everything we're doing, I'm like, well, do I need to maximize profit on every single deal now? Like, I have other money coming in from all these other things. Like, is it worth the risk? And the answer is usually no. And, 3 is, I am like thinking now that I've been in business for a while, it's like I want businesses that have quick cash conversion cycles, like you were saying. And I think wholesaling is that. I think education is that. I think, we've got Pineda Media for monthly recurring on social media content. I'm like looking at that. I'm like, all right, those are great cash conversion cycles. And then let me go make all this cash and put it into long-term assets. And whether it's putting it into my own fund and syndications, whether it's development, buying land, buying multifamily, like, the more I whenever I kind of start getting away from real estate and getting into like something else, the more it always draws me back to real estate, where I'm like, yeah, this always ends up being like where all paths end up leading to regardless.
100%. The tax advantages.
Yeah.
You know, the ultimate goal, or not the ultimate goal, but one of the goals for our company is, you know, in 5 years, we want to be at a place where we're starting to develop the multifamily.
Yeah.
Like build to rent.
Yep.
You know, building a neighborhood.
Yep.
That not only we can take our cash and put it into something that's going to compound over time and produce cash right off the bat, but that's when, because a wholesale business really isn't sellable. No. Right? Like, it's transactional. There's no lifetime value of a customer. Why would someone buy a wholesale business? But when you start to tie it into assets, when you produce the cash from the wholesale business and, you know, spit it off into long-term assets, that's when, you know, you can start to think about, you know, making a really big exit from something.
Yeah. The long-term assets, or, you know, you franchise your wholesale business.
Yeah.
And I forgot who it was. I think it was Homevestors. They sold recently. Man, I can't remember.
Something crazy.
Yeah, I think it was 9 figures what they sold for. But you got to remember, Homevestors has, who knows how many franchisees. Man, they probably have over 1,000.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, when you got a royalty coming in from 1,000 people, now that's a valuable business.
100%. Yep. And, you know, going back to like talking about Atlanta and us being in Atlanta for a long period of time and staying there, man, so many wholesalers and so many real estate investors are like, they'll do 3 or 4 deals in a market and like, let's go to the next market. Let's go to the next market. And like, I'm just the big believer of going deep instead of going wide.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, we could go into another market right now doing 25 deals a month, but why? It makes no sense. We're good at our home base. We've got all of our people right here. We know how to comp these properties. Why would we go wide into another market where, you know, the game's going to be a little bit different? We know this game in Atlanta. Let's just continue to build deeper because there's plenty of opportunity there.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It's one thing I always have to check myself on. And I've got other guys who are good at that because I have like so many ideas. I'm like, dude, let's do this. Let's do that. And they're like, how about we just do what we're doing? And I'm like, that's boring. And they're like, yeah, but that's way easier, way more profitable, way less headache. And I'm like, all right. But next quarter, we're going to look at this idea again, you know, as long as we, like, let's just hit our goal, whatever our goal is, and that way we can go to this next idea.
Yeah, it's that shiny object syndrome. I'm the same way. I have so many ideas. Luckily, I have Tyler there to put the brakes on for stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, I had a buddy reach out to me that, you know, I know in the Atlanta market the other day. Like, I think I was on the plane on the way here to Vegas, and he messaged me. And he was like, I'm thinking about starting this coaching program for, you know, rookie investors.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, can I give you some constructive criticism here, man? Like, can I talk to you for a second? And he has a wholesale business. He's buying businesses.
Yeah.
He has, you know, a podcast.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, man, like, you haven't even seen success really in any of these.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not here to try to put you down. I do this. I'm saying this because I care about you, and I'm, you know, bluntly honest with people that I respect. But you need to put your head down and focus on one of these and become great on one of these before you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's just so many people do it. There's just so many distractions. Hey, I want to go do Airbnb. Hey, I want to get rentals.
Yeah.
I didn't buy rentals for my first year and a half. Like, now I'm slowly building it up.
Yep.
But I was focused on figuring out how to produce cash from this business, continue to grow this business, and be great at one thing. And so many people make the mistake of trying so many different opportunities across the board. Even, you know, I see it in, you know, this program. Like, I see so many people that just, you know, get distracted by this and that. And like, social media is something that I wasn't doing it all, really. Like, I had not posted in a year, basically. and when the market shifted, and I was like, I'm putting my head down. But now I'm at a place where, like, all right, I can actually spend time focusing because I'm having success. I'm in a good spot in this business. You know, I have the time on my plate to allocate it.
Yeah.
And so many people just shift so many different ways before they master something.
Yeah.
And it's a huge mistake. You should just, again, it's about going deeper, not wide. I think you see way more success that way.
Yeah. No, 100%. You know, we tell people all the time, it's like the framework that I came up with that works for any business, not just real estate, is that, you know, we have make, manage, multiply. And it's like, okay, in stage 1, you need to figure out how to make $250K. Like, on your own, you ain't hired anybody. Like, you need to figure out how to make $250 on your own. From there, the manage stage becomes, okay, now that you've actually, like, learned the skill, you've done it, Now let's learn a new skill, which is to hire people and build a business. And so, the managed stage for me isn't really like truly done until, well, not, it's never done, but like you shouldn't even be looking at anything else until you've crossed 1 million, right? So, you cross 1 million in this skill, whatever it is, let's just say it's wholesaling. You do $1 million in wholesaling and you've built a company. It's great. Then it goes to the multiply stage. And in that stage, you can decide whether or not you're going to, start buying assets like rental properties, whatever, whether you're going to start another venture or another business. At least at this point, you now have track record and expertise to go try a new one. Or if you're going to just double down on the current business, which is usually the better answer, because I can tell you from firsthand experience, it's way easier to double down on what you do than it is to start something new from zero. 1,000% easier. So, point is, I see so many people who try to go into, they're in the make stage. They haven't even made 250 in a business. And they're like, dude, I'm going to start this other business. I'm going to buy a rental. And I'm like, dude, why are you buying a rental? Like, you're broke. You haven't like mastered any skill yet. First, learn this skill before you worry about getting your passive income or your rentals. Like, that will come down the road. If you're making a couple $1,000,000 a year and you learn how to do that, for the next 30 years, you're going to buy more than enough rentals, but you got to first learn the skill.
Exactly. Yep. There's just so many distractions out there, and it's it's just one of those things. I think going back to the wholesale business, it was funny. I had one of my competitors. Well, I'm not going to mention his name, but you know him pretty well in the Atlanta market.
You'll have to talk to me off screen.
Well, he's my buddy, and he's your buddy too. And he messaged me the other day because this time last year he had a way bigger business than me, doing way better than me.
Okay.
And he texted me. He's like, Clint, what are you doing? Like, what's the secret? Why are y'all just going crazy? I was like, well, let me think about it for a second. And I thought about it, and I was like, it's our people. Our people are so much better than yours. And I don't mean any offense. I don't mean any offense to that, but the way we approach recruiting in our business versus 99% of wholesale business is completely different. Like, we have a full-time director of recruiting on staff that is headhunting the best people for our company. Not just people that are applying to our job listing, but we're actually going out and stealing people from other companies. Mm-hmm. And it's just been a game changer. Like, we constantly have a new rotation of better salespeople coming on. And as our brand of Padley builds in Atlanta, like, I talked to my recruiter about this last week. He said that, 6 months ago I was interviewing people. People had no idea who the company was. Now every single interview, they know who the company is right off the bat, because we've built a brand in Atlanta, and we've just been so focused on bringing in the best people, because, studs run together, and once you start bringing in a few studs, the other ones start coming. And we've had a really good opportunity in Atlanta with, this market shift. A lot of the iBuyers, shut down. Zillow, they completely shut off buying. Yeah. We have 3 employees from Zillow. Sunday, one of the biggest wholesalers, nationally, they're based out of LA, but they had a pretty big Atlanta office. We've taken 3 of their people, and like the A team from those people, like, we've gotten their best people, and those are like plug and play employees. Like, we can train them, and they need a little help with the talk tracks with wholesaling, but they are trained assassins. Like, they are amazing people. Like, I have a lady who, was working for Zillow before, and, she cried on our morning huddle the other morning because she just got over a $20,000 paycheck. Wow. And she had never made over 80 grand. Wow. And it was just, we've really started, it's crazy. Talking about crying on the huddle, we have someone cry on our huddle, once every 2 weeks or so. People that are just, like I said, my purpose is to change people's life that come into my company and better them. And we are really starting to see that now. People who are, we have the purpose, our purpose in our business is to help sellers or help people move forward. And, language is just such a powerful thing within a company. And our Slack channel, because we have employees in Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, Georgia, our salespeople, a lot of them are virtual, and they're buying them virtually. And language is just such a powerful thing, and the culture we built just in our Slack channel and how we celebrate wins and how we, tell a story. Anytime we get a contract, our acquisition agents tells a story about how we're helping the seller. And it's just such a powerful thing. And so many people are just knocking on our door, coming to work from us now because the good word's getting out there from our employees.
I love that, dude. What's funny is, so, I do our Tuesday All-Star calls. So you've seen that for, almost 3 years now. And sometimes I feel like I have to always repeat myself. And then I just remember, I'm like, but this is what it is. And I'm always talking about hiring and people, culture, holding them accountable. And, before every two, I'm like, what should I talk about today? And I'm like, I have to tell them again. They have to get it that, man, recruiting, all of it plays such a big role. Because the only reason I can be, very passive in the business is because we just have great people, Half the time, I don't even know what's going on. And it's it's allowed me to free up and pursue, these other things that I think move the needle even more so. But it's only good people. If I didn't have good people, then I can't do that. I'm literally going to have to do it myself. And obviously I've done it myself, to a certain point. That's how the business got here. So, I had to do everything, in the house flipping business before I was finally able to find good people who could run it, without me, and then I had to do the same thing with social media and, running these events. And now it's dude, we got WealthCon this week. There's over 1,000 people coming. I don't know how they got here. I don't know. I don't know what kind of marketing they did, but we did it.
Yep.
I didn't book the venue. It's just, I'm showing up just like everyone else. And I'm I've got my presentations and I'm hyped for it. But that is the power of good. They're how do you do so much? I'm like, dude, it's all people. That's all it is.
People and purpose for us. My business partner told me a story about his last company. He was looking for a videographer. Right. Yeah. Couldn't find somebody. Kept increasing the budget of what they were going to spend on a videographer, $60K, $70K, $80K. Couldn't get anybody good.
Yeah.
And he had a paradigm shift when he went to church. And he went to church and saw, all these videographers that were the best.
Working for free.
Yep. He asked his wife, how much are they paying these guys? It's church, honey. They're
serving.
They're working for free.
Yeah.
And that's when he had a big paradigm shift, and something we've really done a good job in our company is, why do those people do it?
Yeah.
Because there's a purpose, and you could say it's God, but at the end of the day, it's the community and the purpose of which they're doing. They're doing good work, right?
Yep.
And so we've tried to create the same in our organization by how we talk about how we help. We're helping a lot of distressed people.
Yeah.
Move forward. How we're helping our employees become financially free and move forward. And when you create that purpose, people will kill for you. Not literally kill, but you know what I mean?
They would. Some will.
They're willing to work extra hard because they are fulfilled and they feel like, they have a purpose.
No, 100%.
So we've really tried to build that out in our organization, and it's just a super powerful thing. Because if you make it about money, it's just, they're going to make bad decisions based on money. They may cut out a buyer to make an extra $5K. We don't want any of that. And it, ties back to your core values too. But it's just a really powerful thing when you have everybody row in the same direction.
Yeah.
Trying to achieve one thing.
100%. I've learned everything I know about hiring people from Gary Harper, who you had mentioned, you had hired earlier. And I was literally just upstairs with him. I still do all of our quarterly meetings. He comes every WealthCon. He helps speak. He serves. I don't pay him anything to come. He just does it because he loves it. And, we have a partnership with Wealthy Business, and it's amazing. But, one thing he always said was, going back to the church and the purpose, his purpose is he wants to do a good work for God's work. And, you mentioned we want to do a good work around here and everything, and it made me think of it. And it's he attracts the right-minded people to his organization who are very aligned. And I've seen other organizations where, it all comes from the top down, right? So it's obviously no secret that I'm a Christian, and, we have lots of Christians that work here, and we have lots of people who aren't, but they all follow the same, mindset and core values, and you know, like they're definitely not uncomfortable by it or anything like that. And you know, my two video guys, speaking of, you know, he's like, why do these stud video guys work here for free and I can't get anyone for 80 grand? My video guys came from church, you know, and they came for way less than, you know, 80 grand starting out. And it's like, not only did they have the skill set, but they came with the mission and the purpose. They're like, dude, this guy, you know, obviously I'm an extension of the church. And it's like, dude, we want to promote and help this guy achieve his vision because I know it's going to impact everything else.
100%. Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, we have investors like that too, man. I got so many investors that are Christian, and it's just like, for me, that's obviously my big purpose is like, yeah, the businesses, they each have their own unique things that we want to do. And it's like, Brett, for me, I'm just trying to build the kingdom. That's it. And whether that be starting a business, whether that be starting a nonprofit, social media, whatever that looks like, that's all I'm trying to do. And it just changes, man. I mean, like you said, 3 years ago when you first met me, we were both completely different. And to see like where we both are today, 3 years later, like where are we going to be 5 years from now?
Completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey had a really good speech when I think it was a Grammy award, or I don't know what award. I don't really follow that stuff, but I listened to the speech and he was like, you know, my hero is me in 10 years. And I'm honestly just trying to chase the person I want to be 10 years from now, constantly improving myself. Kobe Bryant said the same stuff with Mamba mentality, you know, being a better version of yourself than the day before. Right. And I am so focused on that. And some of my business partners, Ren and Tyler, they noticed it and they were like, you know, this is going to be a big thing as you being the CEO of the company. It's going to serve us all really well that you are constantly looking for ways to better yourself, constantly looking for constructive feedback, because I don't shy away from it. I want them to tell me everything bad about me.
Yeah.
And they tell me, right? Like they tell me. Clint's always on his phone. Clint's not paying attention in meetings and all this stuff. And well, now I'm focused on it. Now I'm getting better at it, right?
Yeah.
And just having that one, and this is, you know, language we use within our company all the time, constantly focusing on get 1% better.
Yeah.
If you constantly get 1% better, you're going to be on another level by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, maybe you take some days off on the weekend or whatever the case may be, but even if you just focus on getting 1% better during the 5 days of work week, you're going to be 10 times better at the end of the year. Yeah. And if you look at our company from January to now, we're 10 times better. Like completely different company than we were in January. You know, I was still selling deals in December. Now I've got 5 reps underneath me that are selling all the deals, and we're just slowly building something that's going to be a really great company one day. And
it's already a great company.
It is, but I just know like we're going to be $100 million company a year. We are. Like I see it happening once we get into the commercial side of the game as well. Yeah, we can totally. But just on the wholesale side, we can be a $30 million company a year for sure. Yeah. And if we add in the commercial side, obviously you can make more the bigger deals you do. We can totally be a $100 million a year company, and that's what we're focused on building. But we're building it slowly and methodically, and zigging when other people are zagging, and building a very strong foundation.
Yeah.
I've seen I don't know where it came. It may have came from the Bible, or may it came from something. I saw it in a movie, but it was talking about, the house that was built on the beach. Well, the guy built the house on the beach, storm came, house got blown over. Yeah. Built it again, storm came, house got blown over. Yeah. Then he realized how to build it and drill down into the bedrock. Yeah. So it lasted any storm. And that's what we're trying to build. Something that lasts through any storm. Hey, we're focused on building a lot of cash reserves for the company because we want to be able to last any storm. We want to be a company that doesn't have to do layoffs. Yeah. Now, there might be times when we get a little excessive and we might have to do some, but we want to be focused on being able to last, a year without making a dime. Right. And building those retained earnings up in the company and keeping them back, the cash reserves, so we can be a company that lasts 100 plus years. I talked to Tyler about this the other day. I was like, you think Padley could be around after we're gone? And we started, talking about it. And I was like, yeah, if we build it the right way, and put the right people in place.
Yeah. That's incredible, dude. Yeah. I love, I was just listening to a podcast with Craig Groeschel, and it was about being unreasonable. And the best leaders and CEOs are those who are unreasonable with their plans. Because a lot of people would be listening to this, and they'd be like, Clint, dude, that's crazy. Like, it's a wholesale company. Like, what are you thinking? But, people have told Elon he's crazy. People have told every big entrepreneur they're crazy, and neither of us have achieved anything close to what we want to achieve yet. But I've been told I'm crazy many times and many of the things I did. And, some ended up panning out, some didn't. Not everything that you do that's crazy ends up being, the way you thought. But you end up learning from it. You end up adapting. You end up growing. And it leads to the next thing. And, like I was saying at the beginning of this, like, failure truly is the greatest teacher compared to, man, we just killing it. You guys had a great month this month, but at the end of the day, like, whatever your next bad month is going to be, you're going to learn more from that than what you did from this month. This month, you just like cash checks and you're like, dude, this is sick.
Yep.
And it's like, it's great, but the failures and the hard times are what teach.
Yeah. And it's really being focused on being smart when you're making the money, because it's easy to make bad decisions when you have money.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
That's my problem.
It's very easy to go out and hire a bunch of people,
Yep.
spend more money on marketing.
Yep.
And, the three of us as partners have agreed that we're not going to do that. We're going to be disciplined with our plan and stick to it. We're going to build it slow and methodically.
Yeah. I have the gambler's mentality, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, let's freaking double down, baby. Let's do this.
Well, if I didn't have my business partners, it would probably
You'd be there too.
But luckily, I've let them. I've learned a lot from my business partners in terms of being able to, be different than who I am naturally, right? And know where I make mistakes and where my downfalls are. And a big part of that is I like to take big risks and I like to move quick, but I know for a fact after, doing this for just, 3 years that the right way to build it is build for the long term.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this, like you said. If Padley's going to be around 100 years,
yep.
Let's just say even your lifetime, like you and I are both going to be doing real estate the rest of our lives.
100%.
So it's like, yeah, you should just do it the right way.
Yep.
Like, slow and steady wins the race with real estate, 1,000%. What actually, I don't know if I ever asked you this, but you were in the sports betting world and everything before, but what made you want to get into real estate? Like, were you passionate about it? Like, obviously you are now, but like, what was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do real estate now.
Yeah. I read the stat that 90% of millionaires are made in real estate.
Old Andrew Carnegie.
I mean, so I'm a big believer in, even going back to school, because I wasn't the best guy in school. Like,
well, you're a frat boy. That was your nickname.
Yeah, you can say that. But even in high school, I was a copycat. I didn't do the work myself. I just made friends with the smart girl in the class. And no, I'm a serious, like, and I've never really told anyone that other than people in close to me. But I really never did homework. I just copied other people's work all the time. And what I've realized in business, that's a good thing, right? Like, don't go out and, like, there's so many entrepreneurs that go out and try to create some crazy product that's never been done before.
Yeah.
I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to go copy somebody who's had massive success with someone and do the same thing. And I can't think of an industry that more millionaires have had success in than real estate. So I was just looking at it. I was like, obviously I see so many people out here that I think I'm smarter than.
Yeah.
I see so many people that I know I can outwork.
Yeah.
Making crazy money. Like, why don't I go do that? It's just
Yeah.
like the same thing with, like, the difference in being in single family to commercial real estate. I look at these people in commercial real estate making, being billionaires or like having $50 million. Like, that guy's not smarter than me. That guy can't outwork me. Like, why can't I do it too? Right? Just go copy what they do and do it better.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. It reminds, Threads just came out. It's like, Mark Zuckerberg is the king of just not having any innovation at all. Yep. He's just like, yeah, this thing looks like it's getting pretty popular. Let's just go copy it.
It works, right? Like, I'm just like, I've got a buddy and he's, never really had too much success with entrepreneurship. And it's because he just comes up with these crazy ideas, tries to execute on them for a little while, and it ends up panning out. I'm like, dude, go do something simple and not sexy. Go make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Like, real estate can be sexy, but the wholesaling business really isn't.
No.
We're not having beautiful luxury flips or anything like that with nice,
we're just pushing
kitchens.
paper.
We're just pushing paper. We're a sales and marketing company. If we can do those things well, we're going to be a successful company. And that's what we've been focused on, focusing on the sales management side, how to create a high performing sales organization. That is literally the key to wholesaling. And that's why we're having way more success than other people. It's because we have great people and we're very good at sales management, creating a high performance sales management team.
Yep. I love it, bro. Well, bro, every time I see your success, man, I'm like, dude, this guy, I love it, and I just can't wait to see how it grows the next couple of years. And, I just get super pumped when you send me the screenshots. And I'm like, dude, this guy, he's going back to me, motivating me like, all right, dude, I'm getting lazy. I need to step it up. Like I need to go and freaking get 12 sales reps right now. I need to go get some dispo guys and we need to step it up there. So like, dude, you're inspiring me to just keep stepping my game up and pushing forward, man. So just appreciate you, man, and everything you're doing.
Yeah, appreciate you too, Ryan, man. It's funny when I did my core values, building those out in the beginning there, who are 3 people you look up to and what are the 3 traits that you look up to? And you were on the list.
I appreciate
and
that,
you're
bro.
still on the list and you're someone I watch and admire. You do it the right way and I respect that and, I'm always going to be a fan.
I appreciate that, dude. Well, I'm excited to see what we can do together. Hey, you start getting into commercial, we're open. We can do some deals together.
Always selling.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yep.
Let's do more deals.
Let's do it.
So anyways, guys, go follow Clint. If you are in the Atlanta area, dude, go buy a deal from this guy. Go partner with him. Go joint venture with him. Just go look him up. Where can they find you?
At Clint Closer on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere.
You got that nickname a long time ago.
Brian DeVilla gave it to me. Clint the Closer.
Brian DeVilla gave it to him early on. Clint the Closer, and it's stuck. So go follow Clint the Closer, guys, at Clint Closer on IG. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. What's going on, Wealth Builders? It's Ryan Pineda here. Today, I am going to go on an in-depth training of how to build a 7-figure business, specifically from the marketing side. Now, I've done other videos about how to build businesses and create products and funnels and everything else, and usually I do them in 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, because I'm just trying to break down as much information as I can as fast